All right, welcome everyone to another edition of the Out Here and Talks podcast. We have our co-host is back, Benita Love. She's been MIA for a couple of episodes. I think she was in Mississippi for one, and I can't remember what happened. You had some emergency or something.
Oh, yeah.
Nephew or something was going on. But she's back, and we're happy to have her back. And she came back just in time so she can be a part of a very special episode. We have a really tremendous person and a very important person to Monument Realty. This young lady is the director of our SEALs program. And so when we get brand new agents in the business here at Monument Realty, they have to go through a very intensive program that we call SEALs. And the reason we do that is because the success rate of new agents, brand new agents, is not the greatest, right? Mm-hmm. And so you have all these people who really want to do well. They get their license, and I'm excited. I want to just kind of dominate the industry, and they don't. And so, but we found, though, there are definite reasons for that. In fact, that turn rate of many of those agents 2 years into the business, about 80% of them have decided, hey, I'm out. This is not for me. Yep. And for many of them, it's not so much that it's not for them. It's just they didn't have the proper guidance, didn't have the proper training, and just it's like anything else. You have to be able to follow a path. You have to have some instructions, but you have to have, obviously, there's some intrinsic things and some skill sets that need to be there to make it happen. But what we find is most of them just didn't have the right guidance.
Yeah.
And so what we have in Mel Bustos, who is our guest here, we're gonna find out what Mel really stands for. She likes being called Mel. She doesn't go by but we're gonna know it. We're gonna learn it today. But Mel Bustos is our SEALs trainer and just tremendous mentor, and she's done such an amazing job in this role that we have so many of our agents who come in brand new who succeed at the highest levels. In fact, they are some of the most productive people in our company of 1,000 agents. Just last month, which was crazy, in May, we had 77 people who closed over $1 million in real estate. Many of those came out of the SEALs program.
Yeah. Oh, I was so proud, especially the ones, I came in, I think, maybe about SEALs 19 or so.
Right.
And so many of the ones that were on there were under me, and that just means so much. I think what fills my bucket is to see them succeed, and I had a role to play in that.
Sure. You're not, you're kind of downplaying it. You got a huge role to play in it, because what SEALs does, it is a program that has a really big accountability portion to it. In other words, you get the instruction, you get the guidance, but you have to be accountable. You have to produce. You have to show some results. And in fact, they have to get so many points within a 6-month period to be able to graduate. And that is done purposely because we know that if a person can do so much in production in that short period of time, sky's the limit if they stay on that same trajectory. And it's been a wonderful program. And so with you directing it, kind of what the hot buttons are, what buttons to push. You also know the characteristics of agents who have a greater chance of making it versus those who not so much. And you'll share some of that with us today. And just really you have, you're kind of like Yoda almost. Are you a Star Wars person?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, Star Wars.
Star Wars enough to know who Yoda
yes.
is, right? Okay.
Yes.
Right. So she has this thing that she knows how to get in the mind of an agent and push the right buttons and put them on the right path to do really well if they follow the path.
If
Right.
they follow the path,
Yeah.
trust the process is what we say, right?
Mm-hmm.
In any path, I think you're going to have a process. So if they follow the right path, they do the behaviors, and I like to laugh, but it's like, can you just do what I say?
Right.
Just do what I say.
Well, and that's why, we're going to get to that in a little bit, but since you brought that up, I want to get on that right now. So I've had to train agents for a very long time too, so I understand the frustration of that, right? That why is it so hard for someone to simply just do what you say do?
Yeah.
Right? It's not like most of in this business, a lot of your success is already mapped out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? A person could actually get on the internet right now and read a whole thing that says this is what you do to be successful. And if they actually did it, they would be successful.
Yeah.
The complication becomes actually doing it. And there's so many agents who refuse to or can't do. I don't even say can't do, because everybody can follow instructions, right? But some people just refuse to do that.
Yep.
So you do this for a living. You help people understand what they're supposed to do. Can you tell me why is it that some people do and some people don't?
I think there's a certain mindset that needs to be handheld, and to tell you what to do every step of the way. A lot of new agents are coming from a corporate industry where they've always had that, and they're coming into an industry that they have this vision to own their own business and really just like give it all you got and be successful. They don't realize that they're the ones giving themselves accountability, and so they're searching for that. Now, the program gives you accountability, but also gives you, it's like this balance. You have to have this accountability, but also run and grow yourself and know that what you put into it is how you're going to be successful. To me, the biggest thing is fear. Fear of doing something that you're uncomfortable doing, and it's making you grow. And most people want to stay in this box of comfortability. And so if they're like, oh, I know I have to do this A, B, and C, but they don't do it, and they go to try it, and they either get rejected, that's fear of rejection, or they don't see the results immediately, they get discouraged. And to me, I think that's why we have a huge turnover in this industry.
So that you think the fear keeps a lot of people from actually executing on the task, right? So a lot of them just, I'm too scared to do that. I'm afraid of rejection. I don't want too many people telling me no or making me feel like I'm not worthy of or not capable of doing this. So that keeps some people back, that fear.
Absolutely. I also think like when you're a brand new agent, you are terrified that someone's going to ask you a question and you don't know what to say.
You're right.
And so that fear paralyzes you, right? And they're like, oh, I'm not ready. So when you have this mindset of you have to know everything before you start, you tend to paralyze yourself more and more and more and more and more.
Right.
And I was there for a moment. I was absolutely there. I understood it. So that's one of the biggest things is fear. What I learned really quickly is you don't have to know everything.
Right.
What our job is to actually do is to go uncover the answer. And we don't need to know everything. We shouldn't know everything because then we're not doing our job. Right?
Right.
You're not getting to we know every transaction, every property, even with the same buyer, it's different.
Sure.
Yeah. It's situational. So I try to really, at least in, not just in the program, but obviously, you know, they're with me for at least a good month. I really try in that month, not only are we diving into a lot of the basic behaviors of an agent, but your mindset.
Right.
Your mindset is huge. And that's what I hope to give to the people that are in the program, is to help you change a mindset that you probably have been conditioned with for so many years, or in a cycle of the generation hand-me-downs.
Sure.
Right?
That's a good point, and we're going to talk about that as we talk, because one of the cool things about your life trajectory, the way you have moved through life, you had to make a conscious effort to do things differently than what has been modeled to you throughout the years, and kind of break some, you know, in some places at church we call them generational curses, but cycles. Basically things that just happen, keep happening. And so you decided you need to break some of those cycles. Correct. Because there was more you wanted in life. And I think that is probably what has made you so good at this job. And so we'll talk about that. But before we do, we like to always ask some questions to get to know your personality a little bit more. Obviously, throughout the course of this conversation, we'll get to know your personality. And Mel, I'm sorry, you told us early, but what is Mel short for? What?
It's Melina.
Melina.
That's pretty.
Which is pretty. So,
Thank you.
but why do we not want Melina? Is that because we're part of a witness protection program, and we don't want people to know, you know, what's up, or what's the deal?
I think for so many years that I would say my name and I would still get Melanie or Melinda, and so I'm like, just call me Mel.
Okay.
Right, just call me Mel.
Just to not have to deal with that.
Right. And in high school, all of my friends call me Mel. So it kind of just stayed with me. And then I realized, like, oh my gosh, I just said this out loud to everybody. People that were close to me knew my real name. And there was that distinction now. If you called me Mel, you don't really know me. If you called me Melina, then I knew you on another level.
Okay. All right, Melina.
I like to call people by their actual, if they're comfortable with it, Melina. So if I do call you that, don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could call me that.
Okay.
Now, it'll take me some getting used to.
Yeah, because you're like, wait.
Like, who are you talking to? Who's you talking to?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Now you do know everybody who listens to this. When you get back to the office, they're going to be calling you Melina, so that they can act like they're really close to Mel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Close now.
We are close to Mel, but I like Mel. But I want to be close too, so I want to be. So I want to have a distinction. What is your middle name?
Oh man,
You're over here getting all the information.
Well, if I get the middle name, then I can have a name that nobody else has. Right?
Everybody else will have it.
Well, everybody else will have it.
What are you talking?
My bad.
Do you see how so yes, there's a part of me that's very guarded.
Yes.
Just when you asked me that, I'm like,
yeah, we know.
But
there's like
no,
3 people that know that name.
It's okay. I'm open to the process. Look, God lately has been telling me to come down a little bit on this right here.
Okay.
Whoo, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, all right, we're ready.
It's India.
It's what?
India.
India? That's nice.
I would have never guessed that.
Okay, India.
It's okay.
Yeah. I know, yeah, that's just making you nervous.
Right.
So if you haven't been able to tell yet, Mel is shrouded in mystery, right? Everyone knows that she is an outstanding mentor, coach, teacher, but nobody knows anything about Mel. We don't know if she came here after murdering somebody in New Orleans and assumed a whole new name and identity. We don't know, right? And that was one of the reasons people have clamored for her to be on this show, because they were like, all right, if you can get some kind of insight so we know something about Mel, other than that she's this awesome instructor and leader, teacher. We're like, we don't know anything. But so we've learned some things already. We're doing good. We're doing good. And she's very, you can tell this is not,
she's like, you can
this
tell,
is not her
like,
comfort zone. You can tell
she's like, I've given too much already.
But here's the reason though, Mel. We were like, so Mel interviews everyone who comes in. If you're a new agent and you come to Monument, you're required to go through an interview to be a part of SEALs. So it's not, so when we say, and I don't want everybody, Monument, they try to act like they're so, well, here's the thing. There are companies that just, hey, you breathing?
Right.
You know what I mean? You know your ABCs, you can add up some stuff. Come on in and come join us, right? But at Monument, we really want people who have an opportunity to succeed.
Right.
Because we're going to give you we're going to pour everything into you to be successful.
Right.
So we like to do that with people who have a chance to be successful, right?
Correct.
We owe that to them. So we also owe it to them to be able to say, hey, look, you know, I don't know that this is going to be the best fit because of what we will demand of you and what we see in you. Because if we bring you in, we see more than somebody who's just going to be an average agent.
Correct.
There's way too much potential out here for you to be just satisfied with being average.
Right.
And that's not what we don't teach to average.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
And so part of what you do is in that selection process, you're trying to find the person who wants to be exceptional.
Yeah. Yep.
And knowing that's what you do, a lot of people don't get a good read of you when they come in. They're like, because I've sent people to the interview and they tell me, man,
They called you right after, right?
They call right after. They're not even in the car good yet. Man, oh man, I don't know. Ooh, I don't think that went well. They were like, she didn't show any expression. They were like, I don't know what happened.
It's like the sergeant.
Yeah, and I'm like, dang. And I'm thinking the person was really good. And so it makes me pick up. I'm like, dang, Mel, you don't like him? And so what I've learned is Mel is not going to give them any kind of signal one way or the other because she wants to see them react. She wants to see them be in a situation where they don't know or don't what you want them uncomfortable.
I want them uncomfortable. Absolutely. I think you hit that right on the point, on the nail on the head.
Hit nail on the head. That's right. And you want them uncomfortable. Why? What does that show you?
To me, I think it shows a lot in behaviors. So I analyze behaviors and I listen to my intuition. My intuition literally turns on because first I want them, I'm not going to give away the secrets, but I've been interviewing for years. And what I really know is that selecting the right person from the beginning is going to get the results you either see for them or out of the program. I have a program I have to run that produces results, right? So I think selecting that is so important to me and setting expectations from the beginning. So if you are selected, you know exactly what you're walking into. And if we have to have a conversation about something, well, you knew that you agreed to it.
Sure.
Right? So that's huge, and I start that immediately from the interview process. So they know that first, we're not teaching to the average, and they have to live up to another expectation.
Sure.
I think me personally, and this is how I feel, and I know Christy has said this, and we say in the industry, in the retail real estate industry, the standard is set down here for you to get a license. Anyone can get a license.
Right.
Well, kind of.
Right.
Maybe.
It's
most people.
It's easy.
A lot of some people.
Right. But then you get a license, you don't know what to do with it, and you don't really understand how this industry works, right? So then it's right here. coming to Monument, it's above that. Because we expect so many things out of our agents. And we take pride in our culture and what we've invested in and the leadership here. This is one of the best leaderships I've ever seen, ever. Because we all are wanting the same goal. That's huge. So I want to select the right person that's not only going to be a right fit for the program, but for Monument.
Sure.
For the brokerage.
And here's why it's so important. We have a responsibility to not just the people who are coming in, but to the ones who are here already. Right? We want everybody to benefit from the addition of the new ones who come in, so they help uphold a standard that has been created.
Correct.
And so that anybody in the industry, and more specifically those who are potential buyers and sellers, understand that an agent that is at Monument Realty is going to be of this level or better. Right? And so because of that, then, you have to get everybody to kind of be on the same page. Everybody can't play for the University of Alabama, right? They've got a national championship standard. They don't always win a national championship, but they darn near come close to it almost every year. Right? And then you have other teams, Texas A&M, for example. That's not a culture of winning, right? They want to be winners. That fan base. Oh, they. In fact, I don't think they won I don't even know if that's a legitimate national championship they didn't have. I think they won one back in 1930 something. The 30. And I only, it might have been the Mississippi Picayune newspaper named the national champions. I don't even know if that's a legit one, but they don't have that pedigree, and so, but they want it, right? Everybody wants that, but it's certain places that I know y'all want it,
but we expect it.
And
that's different.
And that's the way it's going to be.
Right.
Period.
Right. So there's this standard that's a little lower on the level. I'm just going to say that.
That's the A&M standard.
And then here's Monument. That's definitely above that.
Sure. It's way above that. So there's probably some other places that, you got A&M and then got maybe OU and then, that kind of thing. And
then the expectation, if you're going to be under me and my program, is above that.
Oh, okay. I like that.
And that's, you're dealing with someone's biggest transaction of their life, your career changing. So this has to be all in it for you. This has to be your career. And you have to have this image perception, and I want the agents I bring on to know that they're so professional, right? I think that's the biggest P that stands out to me personally, is professionalism. So in the interview process, I turn on the heat for a reason, because I want to know if you're going to sit down or you're going to stand up.
Okay. I like it.
I'll make it simple.
Very good. Now, and by the way, Eddie Burns, the CEO, is a Texas A&M grad, so I want to make sure I was kind of make sure I didn't work myself into a pink slip. So I'm just joking about A&M, kind of. But
I have a question. Are you, for people that are listening and hearing about the program and sales, can you give us a brief kind of description? You don't tell everything about what exactly is sales, and to graduate and everything like that.
Sure. It's intended to be a 6-month program. First month is in classroom time. You'll learn all of those foundational things in your business. And so you have to close 6 transactions in 6 months. There's formulas to it. We give points different ways. And that's the expectation. I think really putting that expectation and setting a goal for yourself initially as being a new agent, you're then very goal focused, as you should be, because you want to now do all those things you learned in that month to hit a goal, right? There are some expectations of month 2 trainings, and then 3 and so forth, and pipeline reviews. Initially, after a certain time, we just want to see someone take initiative of their own business and keep going. Mm-hmm. It's like, I want to see this balance. Like, I'm giving you what you need and you need to run.
Right.
Right.
And then look back and say, Mel, I need your help. Before anything crashes, of course. But so that's what I see for the program in just like a small little detail. Mm-hmm. Now, the expectation of what kind of agent you're going to be while you're in the program is huge to me. Mm-hmm. Because not only are you representing Monument's brand image, but now you're representing mine, and I take that very seriously.
Sure.
So if I hear feedback, and I always say I have ears everywhere. Mm-hmm. If you don't think I know, I actually know, right? Sure. And so a lot of times I have to have tough conversations with people, and I think that's what leadership appreciates as well about me, because I don't mind doing that. Mm-hmm. It's not always easy. I still am like, okay, right? But I have to have tough conversations about behaviors, expectations, just a lot of different things that might come up. And I'm okay to do that, because in the grand scheme of things, there's 2 things you don't mess with. I think you guys can agree. And that's my family or my business. Mm-hmm. So if you're affecting my business, which I have to show results in, then we have to have some kind of conversation.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. I like it. Mm-hmm. I like it. It's for some people it might seem tough, and I'm like, oh, that's too tough. And here's the thing. This is a very tough industry. Yeah. And so for someone to not just survive it, because that's not what we're looking for. We're not looking for just survivors. We want people to thrive in this business. Yes. The toughness of it helps them. And so what we see, those who end up graduating out of this, they are wildly successful. Yeah. They do great things. And and at the end of the day, they have created habits that will not only help them just in real estate, these are habits that will help them in life. Yeah. Right? And so not only do they excel in their business, mm-hmm. but their personal life gets better, their family life mm-hmm. is better. It's a program, it's a routine that creates habits that Correct. Will better them and their families. It's just amazing. It's an amazing program. And so and listen, there are companies that all over the place that have training programs and to varied degrees of success. And so I'm not trying to down anybody else. All I can do is talk to what we have here. And what we have here is designed to help somebody who wants to go into a very challenging yet extremely rewarding career. Mm-hmm. If they want to go in it and go in it full-fledged, this is the type of program you need to be a part of, because this will do it. This will say, hey, you can do it, or you can't do it, or these are the adjustments I need to make if I'm going to be successful. So you might have certain ideas about how this needs to work. But then you'll get in the program and you'll make some adjustments. The next thing you know, you're good. Right. We were talking about Brendan, what's Brendan's last name? Walker. Brendan Walker. Mm-hmm. Brendan was in the program for 4 months and did nothing. Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's definitely one of those pictures I like to paint of what you can expect. Statistically, a new agent probably does like 1 to 2 deals in their first year, because they're floundering, they're trying to figure it out. And usually it's a sphere.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then here's their second year where they're like, okay, I think I got the hang of this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, now I understand contracts, which is scary to me. That's huge. And then here's their third and their third year, and they're like, oh, I understand this now. Well, you just taken 3 years, right? What the program is intended and what it's resulted in with someone who follows the process and really gives it all they got is that in such a short amount of time, your floundering or trying to swim above water is shortened.
Sure.
And then you get it. and then you're successful,
Right.
and then you close the deals, and then by year 2, you're already seeing the sphere referrals
Sure.
come around.
Without a doubt.
And
So-
it's so exciting. You see my face.
Yeah, you see, you get
lighting up.
excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
he's a
true.
picture I like to paint of what to expect and what you probably will walk into, and you have to be okay with it.
Sure. So so during the period where he's not producing anything, during those 4 months, he was doing all of the things. So
behaviors,
he was
yeah.
doing all of the behaviors, and then all of a sudden, it clicks, and then
Correct.
all of it starts happening. He ends up at the end of the year in the top 50 or top 100 of the 1,000 agents, and is even doing greater this year. I mean, he's on fire. But that's kind of the story for a lot of people, and then a lot of them will understand that. Okay, let me just trust the process. Let me keep doing what I'm supposed to do. Let me quit trying to modify. That everybody wants to try to tinker with. Okay, she said do this, but I'm gonna do it this way. Quit doing all that. Just follow instructions and let the results happen.
Right.
After the results start to happen, as you do this more and more, there will be things that you'll tweak. There'll be things that you realize, I'm so much better at this versus that. Let me put a little more time into this. You'll be able to make those kind of changes. But at the beginning, you don't know enough to be
Correct.
trying to say what works and what doesn't work, right?
Absolutely.
And you know enough just to fool around and get yourself like Dolly Parton on that 9 to 5, right?
Yes.
That's what you know.
Yep.
So just follow the instructions, do what you're supposed to do, and it will work out.
Right. And it does.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some things behind that, like intention and creating those habits and having a huge why. I know we talked about that, which I think we'll talk about in a little bit.
We are.
But I think for his story, he didn't see the results in such a, I say 6 months. Be ready to not see any results in 6 months. Now, I know it's a 6-month program. It's designed to get you launched immediately. Like my current class right now are already writing offers.
Sure.
They're still in the month.
Right.
That's unheard of.
Yeah,
Right.
it really is.
It blows my mind to just know, like, we have been in this and we've earned our keep.
Yeah.
That's why I say I want you guys to earn this. You have to earn this. You do it in a shorter amount of time, right? But it's put into place to see someone like him and his mindset grow, because it can get very discouraging.
Sure.
You're doing all the behaviors and you're not getting anything. What we really also want to see is the groups come together and help each other out when it comes to motivation and accountability. Like, those connections are huge. I mean, a lot of them become best friends.
Sure.
And they have that relationship ongoing. Even if they've stayed or in real estate or not, it's amazing. But so they've really pushed to motivate him as well. And he would get back up, try something different, accepted falling. I don't like to say failure. Failure is when you give up. Falling is when you fall down and you have to be like, okay, that didn't work. Let me dust off my knees and go a different direction. One weekend in his 4th month, he got 3 executed contracts. The next weekend, he got 2.
Wow.
And it happens.
Yeah.
Right.
It happens.
There's a momentum that's generated from doing the activities, and when stuff starts to actually happen, it continues to happen as long as you go with that momentum. It's the moment you start to pull back. So if he had decided, okay, I'm going to start kind of half-assing it, for lack of a better term, because it's not working.
Right.
I'm going to get focused. Let me start kind of checking
I'm going to go get a part-time.
Let me go get a
gig.
part-time, because it's not
Yeah.
working. The moment you decide to do that, you are moving further away
Correct.
from it actually happening.
Yeah.
And so just like, I mean, in our office, in the Arlington office, you've got 2 in one of your latest classes. It must be this group must have been a little people's group, because they kind of little guys. Raul and Tevin, they kind of smaller, and but they're doing great. And they both got their first contracts, first closings. They got other contracts going, and you can see the synergy of them showing up every day and pushing each other, motivating each other, and they're doing great. And these guys are just, I mean, they're in the first
very
few
beginning.
weeks of it, right?
Isn't that crazy? So I
Yeah.
could say
love
be
it.
ready to not see anything in 6
Right.
months. But realistically, you will if you're doing it like we say.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing from them and anyone who's been successful from the program is that they stay connected.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's one of those things in that formula.
And you were talking about, so one of the things with both of them that I see, they come to the office every day. So the big thing that a lot of people say, well, I like kind of working from home and kind of starting my day.
better alone.
I do better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. There's a reason corporations right now are wanting their employees to get
come
back
back.
to the office, because they see, look, the production is not the same. Me trusting you at the house, watching Netflix or whatever you got going on, and you're just more productive in an environment where production is supposed to happen.
Correct. But I also think it's just like you are in a room with like-minded people.
Exactly.
Right.
That is huge.
Right.
Even if you don't have an appointment or something going on, we say come to the office, sit there, in the wisdom that you
You're
can
gonna hear
soak up.
something, pick up something.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you can see someone in the image you want to be like and go get close to them.
Sure. Without a
So,
doubt. It's a big
yeah.
thing. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
So, Mel, we want to know, how did you get to this level of this desire to see people succeed and building teams and helping people do this? Because you're not somebody who's teaching the stuff theoretically, right? This is something you've lived this, you've done this. Yes. So I do have a special place in my heart for those who have participated in the industry, right? Because I do think there is a level of validity that comes with that people can look at you and know that, okay, you've done it. So you're not just telling me that. Now, there are people in this industry who are great, who are leaders in this industry who've not done real estate. But they are exceptions. They're the exceptional ones. They're the ones who have this tremendous ability. Just like, we talk about Dina Custer doesn't have a real estate license, but she is a wizard at mindset. No, I don't know anybody better at it, right? And so because she has that ability, as long as we do our job and help them learn all the real estate stuff, they get with somebody like that, she will have them exactly where they're supposed to be successful.
Correct. Yeah.
But they're not that many people. There's not a whole bunch of Dina Custers out there.
Oh, yeah. That's very rare.
Right.
I think, obviously, my background in building teams and really developing and people in my team and my locations to be successful, the goal was to have a successful store running, right? And so by that, I really learned that it's coaching and mentoring and developing the individual. Because when you develop the individual, then you have this cohesiveness. I wanted my locations to run exactly as I was there every day. So when I stepped out, I had no problem stepping away.
Okay.
I was confident and comfortable that my people knew my expectations and they were going to run it the way I said to.
Right.
I don't want to say said to, but that we've trained and developed. And so that experience and my past really took hand in hand with what I get to do in this industry. And I naturally was able and blessed that I went back to that passion of other people, right? So I think what I love the most is I just want to inspire new agents because I have been there.
Sure. Yeah.
And I want them to know, with all the obstacles you have against you, no matter why you are career changing, you can make it.
Sure.
You can make it.
And you know that for a fact. So let's go back to you're not a native Texan. You are from New Mexico, Albuquerque. Right? Okay, she getting.
I know.
You know, she getting nervous again.
Yeah.
Even voice gets all low. So yeah, so we get
Okay.
again.
Okay.
Allegedly, she's from Albuquerque. Again,
I'm hanging
it
in
is.
there.
It's still
Yeah.
possible that other theory I have of escaping from New Orleans after
Why
after
New
doing something. I
Orleans?
don't know. It's just something about Mel. Mel has a.
She has that.
She's got to look like she got into
Yeah.
something in New Orleans and then ended up in Texas, right, with a new name and all that stuff. It's just something went down in New Orleans. But anyway, so but you grew up in New Mexico, and you were very candid in saying that you grew up in an environment that was just basically cyclical, right?
Mhm.
That you could
Yeah.
go back generations and just kind of see the cycle and the complacency with life being this is what it is, right?
Oh yeah.
And you got to the point where you're like, I don't, but I want more
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
this.
I've always been like that. I knew that was in me at an early age. I fell into the same cycle, generational. I repeated the same pattern. Fell into the toxicity of the mindset that's a victim mindset.
Okay.
And that was, I could say I'd never been that kind of mindset, but I fell into the pattern
Sure.
of toxic, accepting toxic behaviors from other people in my life. So, and then I raised my kids on my own.
And you
so
How many
and
kids do you have?
I have 2 daughters.
2 daughters, and you had because we know you're very mature, but we know you can't be a very old person. You're very youthful and young, but and so we won't try to get people to figure out how old you are. We do know though that you had your first child at a very young
age, and that's okay. I was 16.
16.
That's crazy.
Now, here's what's funny about that. At least 3 of our guests on this show who are doing really, really well in life and in business had kids at either, I think the oldest was like a 18-year-old and a 15 and a 16. Now, I'm not telling anybody don't go do that. I'm just saying
There's certain people,
there's something about the person who has a baby early, but powers through, who
Powers through.
figures out, okay, I've got now this big why,
Correct.
this child, and now I have to make better choices. I have to do this the right way to make a better life for not just myself, but for my child.
Yeah.
And is that kind of what happened here?
For sure. And I went into an industry and a career which I absolutely loved, and I felt I had passion for it. But I chose it to take care of my family. It wasn't like I was seeking it out. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So I powered through it. I raised my girls, and made some mistakes along the way, and I've always been the one to want to change things if it didn't work out. So I think what was the biggest thing in my life, I've always been this strong, independent person. Didn't ask for help, didn't need your help. I was going to figure it out on my own. And then life hit me. Took me to my lowest.
See,
what do you
now,
mean?
do you need
okay,
any? So here's
Well,
what let me
no,
wait. Let me stop. Let me stop you right
power
there.
through it. Let me
Because
power
you're
through
gonna
it.
power. So, but here's the thing. So remember that hard exterior we were talking about with Melina? She will kind of cry at the drop of a hat behind any successes, anything that, and so we were like, okay, we gotta. That's what made everybody say, can you get her on your? Can we figure out what is the deal with Mel, that she can be very sensitive, she can be very hard,
Right.
but I think it all is part of the same. I think there's a lot of you that is guarded and very protective.
Yeah.
because there are things that you don't want to repeat. There are things that you don't want to necessarily have happen again.
Right. I think the reason I get emotional nowadays is I've seen such a growth.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
That is amazing.
Woo! Okay, so the reason I ended up here in Texas is when you said, did you come and what did you say initially?
About how you got here?
Yes.
The murder?
Not the murder and somebody in
you
New
were
Orleans.
like, witness protection.
Witness protection, right.
You came to, in reality, I came to change my identity. Absolutely. You're so right on that.
Right.
So my sister passed away, and it devastated our family, myself. Shoot. She was my best friend.
Oh wow! See, and I'm,
It's okay.
and if you don't know me, and the people who know me know that
He doesn't do well with.
I'm so poor in these situations.
Okay,
It's
okay, I'm
fine.
ready.
Okay.
Take your time.
So she passed away, and through that passing, I had to really heal. And so I ran away to Texas because everything in my hometown reminded me of her. And then my career changed. So here I am in Texas with a suitcase.
Okay.
Mind you, I got rid of everything. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to career change. Woohoo! And here's real estate kind of really fell in my lap. I know there's stories to similar agents who were like, I always thought about real estate. And I had too. I thought about that and thought I would be pretty good because I love people and I wanted to pour into people. And so an opportunity fell in my lap. And I was able to join a team while I got my real estate license as I was cold calling. Through that process, I realized I have to heal this and my mindset. And not only my mindset, the behaviors of this generational curse that you said or what we fall into that was put on me. I had to heal that too.
Sure.
So in order for me to really be successful in this industry, I had to do so many things internally. And that was very uncomfortable. Not only that, I had to look in the mirror and change so many behaviors because I was going to make it in this industry no matter what. I had no plan B.
Right.
Gotcha.
And when I'm kind of put in that position, I tend to thrive. I ran away from home because my family was helping me, which I'm blessed. I love that. We, we always come together, but they were it was a little hindering because I was staying in a place that I didn't want to be, right? So by running away, I had to then make it on my own.
So was there a reason why Texas? What made you choose Texas?
Well, I had a one friend that lived here.
Okay.
I was talking to her and she said, just come here for a weekend. I think you would do great here. You need a whole change, right? And so I came here for a weekend and I was here the next weekend. I was like, oh, absolutely. I don't know what it was about Texas, but I got here and I was like, I'm supposed to be here. So I think, and that's God's way of telling me where I needed to go. And so I packed a bag and we came, and then a career changed. But it took me to a place that was probably more devastating than others. I don't want anyone to compare their trauma or whatever to mine or vice versa. We all gone through it. But she took her own life while I was with her. And that weighed heavy.
Sure.
That guilt was crushing. oh, you guys got me. And so my mindset was telling me that I wasn't worthy. I had never been through something like that before, ever. Never. And so that was so uncomfortable. And so I was like, oh no, I'm not staying here. Mm-hmm. This is not me. Absolutely not. And I'm not going to fall into the pattern of being a victim, which I saw that's the pattern of my family cycle, that they hit something unexpected and they stayed in this victim mode. Mm-hmm. And I saw myself following that, which I said I would never do. Mm-hmm. And that scared me more than anything. And so I was like, no, I need a whole change. I need to figure this out. And so when I came here, I was on my healing process, and I built a relationship with God, and he gave me clarity once I realized I couldn't do this on my own. Mm-hmm. So, and that's a little bit about my story, but then my why became more so that for my kids. I know our kids are our huge why, sure, but it was huge to me that they didn't follow that pattern in that generation, and that they, not only did I tell them, they saw me. Right. And there's a huge difference when you have someone who's such a big influence in your life, which they only had me. If they didn't have me, who were they going to have?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And if I stayed in that dark hole, they would never have me, and that was not fair to them. Mm-hmm. And so they really kept me climbing out. Mm-hmm. The thing about a dark hole is once you climb down, it takes you about the same amount of time, mm-hmm, to climb out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's okay, though. It's a process. Right. And so then they became this huge why of, I want to influence their behavior and know at any age you can change it. And that was my huge why. So I think what I want my agents to see in me is someone who's relatable. Right. We're career changing for some reason. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be the same as me. But I want to help you eliminate the obstacles you have by setting certain behaviors and things in place that they don't know you're a brand new agent. Mm-hmm. They think you're experienced just by the little bit of time that you've been in the program, right? So I'm eliminating a little bit of those obstacles, but I do share my story with my SEALs, and because I want them to know it doesn't have to be the same story, mm-hmm, but you have to have such a why that's so grounded and so rooted that when the wind blows, you're still there. Mm-hmm. And for most of them, when I do hear their story, there's a huge why. Mm-hmm. And I just want to be that influence from the beginning, that if Mel could make it, and yes, it's hard for me sometimes to expose this side of me to people, but I do it with my SEALs because I've built a connection with them. Mm-hmm. If Mel can do it, then I can do it.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. Wow, Melina, that is wow. I did not know all of that, obviously, but it says to me that you have the reason you're able to do this so well is that part of your story. Mm-hmm. You have been able to, and overcome to me is not the word, mm-hmm, because I think that's something you deal with forever, right? Yeah. So overcome is probably not the word. What you've done is created a life that continues to progress, yep, while dealing with that, yes, right? And because of that, as dark as that period was, there are a lot of people who get to see the light because of that.
Right.
because now you're able to impart your wisdom, share with them, guide them, put them on a path that allows them to see better days because of that. And you're seeing better days too, right?
Absolutely.
And your kids are seeing better days. And life is life. We all will have to deal with different things, and but the key to it is that as long as you're here, God's not done with you. So there's other things that you have to do, or that He intends for you to do, and we're thankful that you found what you were supposed to do.
Yes.
And I'm sure there'll be countless real estate agents who are doing great things for years to come and able to create opportunities for their children's children because of you doing what you've been put here to do. So,
wow.
So, yeah, it means a little bit more than just real estate to me.
Sure.
Real estate has given me the platform, and I have worked really hard to be where I am, but it's more than that. When I want someone, I could, like you said, I have the vision of someone's ability and knowing that they can do this. I just want to bring that out. I want to be one of those people that help you bring it out. And I love that. That's now my why.
Sure.
Your why changes, right? I'm glad to say my kids are great.
Doing well.
They didn't come into the cycle of becoming a teen mom, thank goodness. They're very independent. They have so much clarity in life than I ever did at that age. And so I think I did something pretty cool there. And they're cool people.
Yeah.
They're really cool people. Now my why is the agents I get to encounter and leave some kind of long-lasting impact. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're most certainly doing it. The agents who who talk about you, who are part of that program, like everybody loves Mel, and everybody loves what Mel has allowed them to accomplish. I mean, it's on them. We always talk about, hey, look, when you get into real estate, the thing that's critically important is how good a boss do you have and how good of an employee. And unfortunately, you're both. And so, you have to be your own boss, and you're also the employee. And if either one of those suck, this makes it very hard.
I think you're this CEO. Then you're the director. You're the man. Like, there's all these levels. It's not just a boss and an employee. You're the cashier. Yeah. It's like you have to now do everything. So I like Jason Cryer loves to say, at the end of the day, would you hire yourself? And if you ask yourself that question, then you're doing something right. And you say yes. If you say no, it's okay.
Right.
But you have to change that.
Right.
So you have to have this ability to be able to accept feedback, be coachable, and really change things. I encounter so many agents that don't. They want to keep the same, and they don't have this openness to be able to change, because this industry is so different every single day.
Sure.
And a lot of agents don't understand that initially when they're getting your license.
Absolutely. So before we end, this was really good, Mel.
Really good. This is
now,
really good.
Now, Jeff Janash is going to say we say this to everybody.
We don't.
This this is really good, though. I think we have so many really good episodes because it's the people.
It's the people, their stories, and like you said, your growth, everything.
Yeah, but I think what's so unique about yours is because we don't know anything. We didn't know anything. We know stuff about India now, right?
There he goes.
So,
you should never.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there talking to India, and so this is good. So India, tell me this though. You get to see this a lot, and you interview all these people, give me what are you give maybe 3 characteristics that you find most common in the ones who are successful, and then 3 things maybe you see lacking in the ones that you know it's probably not going to work.
Right. Ooh, there's such a long list. I don't know if I can narrow it down to 3. But I think the biggest thing is you have to be a self-starter first and foremost. Not everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a self-starter. You have to be coachable, for sure. Oh man. I said this the other day, I think, and I know that's hard to get through an interview kind of characteristic, but you have to have accountability in yourself. You have to have accountability in yourself and want this so badly that you just need a guide.
Mm-hmm.
I always say, like, I know I play it down. I'm like, I just give you like the basics, but the basics is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the formula is huge. And what we're giving no other agent has had. Sometimes agents, brand new licensed, don't understand how priceless this is.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a level of like ungratefulness. So I think you have to have gratitude. I don't know how you get that from an interview. There's a lot of different behaviors you have to have. I think what I'm looking for in an interview itself is someone who is a self-starter. They show discipline. You show up on time. You're professional. Believe it or not, that's how you eliminate yourself from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing this for a reason, such a huge reason. I think when we uncover that, then those agents tend to stay in the business longer because their why is more than them.
Mm-hmm. Well, so here's what's common. Even when you got in the business and you started cold, you got in, you cold calling, you were doing one of the most arduous things that people that like the least, but you got really good at cold calling. Anybody can listen. If y'all can sit down and talk to somebody who got good at cold calling, made a living from cold calling, that's a very special individual. You need to keep them close to you at all times. But the deal was with you, I remember Rachel Pratt saying this. I remember Tanisha Luss saying this. I think even Connie said it too. They were saying that there was no other plan.
Correct.
This was it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it.
And I think the moment agents start trying to figure out this other plan, so I'm going to get that insurance license.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let me go. I can go back in and cut a few heads and do
Let me do notary.
and do some notary stuff. I think the moment they start doing that, there's nothing wrong with additional streams of income.
Correct.
Nothing wrong with that. But when you're doing it to say, I need to do this to augment what I'm doing because this is not working, that's when it's a problem.
Right.
And I think too many move into that. I think there's a point where you have to look yourself in the mirror, like you said, and kind of figure out, okay, can I do it? Can I not do it? And if you have the hard conversation with some people and ask them, so what's the question you ask them? When you don't see the effort, you don't see, when you feel like maybe I'm missing something, what do you ask that agent?
Well, we have a conversation, but by the end of it, I said, I'm going to ask you this, and I'm very honest. Do you still want to be in real estate?
Mm-hmm.
Do you still want to be in real estate? If there's this hesitation or this thought, then that tells me they're thinking otherwise, or they already have a different plan, right? And we see it. We see it. When there's no hesitation, absolutely, I want to be this. I still want to do 110%. This is what I've been doing. This is right. When someone also that's self-starter, they already have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge because
Right.
you've thought ahead. And so that's what I look for, really honestly, is like, I want this so bad and I'm going to do it at any cost. Now, legal costs.
Right.
Right. By any means necessary.
Any means necessary. And that means getting uncomfortable. So as you said, I had to get so uncomfortable. I was always so great in person. That's where my background comes from. And here I am getting on a phone call. Hey, my name is click. Hi, my name is click. And I'm like, what in the world? There's no way. I know if they met me in person, they would work with me.
Sure.
So that's when I said that out loud. Okay, well then, how do I meet them in person? I have to get good at this. I have to master something. I didn't have a sphere. I was blessed to join a team, and that really laid the foundation of calling and converting leads. Now, before I got access to the leads that were interested, I had to cold call numbers and sell a dream. Sell someone a dream they didn't know they wanted to sell until I called them.
Sure.
But I had to master that, right? And that took a lot of affirmation. It took behaviors. It took consistency. It took really learning my scripts, embedding the script in my head so I could lead the conversation. It took tonality over the phone, mirroring and matching over the phone. It took all these certain things. And so I focused on those tiny little things to become masters at that, to make the big picture. And that was to set an appointment and to get in front of somebody. So that was hard. It's not easy, but it showed me results and I knew I could do it. And that's how I laid down the foundation of my career in this industry. And, I love it. Like if you've ever been in my lead class, I go off on tangents, but I'm very passionate about how important a future pipeline is. I don't care if it comes from leads, your sphere, your door knocking, your people. If you build a future pipeline in this industry, you're going to be great. And that's really what I also want my agents to know and to see. I loved to talk to leads that were 2 years out. I loved to talk to them. You're a year out. Great. Let's have a conversation. That was my niche. Because guess what I got to do is move their timeline.
Yeah. Move them up a little bit.
Yeah. Because I uncovered.
What exactly?
And if I couldn't move them, guess what? There's business in that timeline. Right. So I loved building it from way out to in. But I had to get great at leads because I knew nobody in Texas.
Right.
And that's where it goes back to this was it. I had no plan B.
Yeah.
This was it. And I was going to make it because my kids deserved it. I deserved it. And generations to come of my bloodline deserves it.
Absolutely. I love it, India. This was great. This was
Thank
great.
you, Melina.
Yeah. Okay. Look at you.
Oh, what did I do?
So,
What did you do?
Yeah. This was awesome. We could talk to you forever.
Oh, yeah.
We need to have you as a regular
Yeah.
guest.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
And then you can come on and talk about, you can come on and talk about anything, really. Because you can.
I think we just barely exposed, like, certain behavior. We were talking about, we wanted to talk about all the other little behaviors that make a new agent successful.
And what most people don't realize, those same behaviors that make a new agent successful are the habits that those who have been successful for a long time have mastered.
Oh, for sure.
And so you'll get some people say, well, I don't want, I need more than basic class.
Right.
And every time I hear that, I'm like, so I'm sorry, tell me, well, I need a class for the $20 million producers. And I said, well, what do you think is different about that class versus the one for the ones who are $2 million producers?
Yep.
Well, they probably talking about $20 million type stuff. I'm like, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
This has been.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
Can I?
Of course, India.
Well, just because you said it, if you think about all the most successful people, if you ask them, they created a formula that worked for themselves and they did it over and over and over again. They didn't change it. Once they saw the results, they kept it.
Right. They'll fine tune certain parts of it, but the basic part of it is what they do.
Yeah. Right. And they'll tell you to go back to the basics. Right. Even when you feel like you're like struggling, let's go back to the basics.
Right.
And go do it again, you know? So, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this has been absolutely outstanding. This is good. Yeah. You're definitely better than Jeff Janash. Oh. So I know Jeff is going to be sitting there saying, man, what's going on? Why are you doing me like, no, we love Jeff. We like giving Jeff a hard time. This is good. So we will, y'all, please do this. Like, subscribe, do what else?
Share, comment, leave feedback, questions.
Do all those things you're supposed to do, and tell people about this episode. Now, if you're wanting to look at coming over to Monument and you're a brand new agent, or if you're an experienced agent, you know how to reach us, of course, and we're always looking for additional people to add to the team, but I hope today kind of gave you an idea of what we're looking for. In that way, I even get some friends of mine from other places and they're like, "Dog, you didn't talk to me about coming over to the Monument." And I'm like, "Well, it's not." You know what I mean? It's not that I didn't. Like, if somebody's doing great where they are, stay great where you are. If you don't feel like if there's a need, if you feel like, okay, I've plateaued, I want to do something else, then we should have a conversation. Or if you're somewhere and you feel like I'm not meeting my potential, we need to have a conversation. But the conversation that needs to happen first is that conversation with you in the mirror saying, okay, why am I here?
Yeah.
And have a real conversation. And then once you feel comfortable with those answers, that's when you can then explore other stuff. But you need to figure out if the impediment right now is you. And if the impediment is you, there's some stuff you got to work on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
This has been great. I appreciate it. I can't wait to do it again. You were wonderful, India, and we will talk to you, and everybody out there, we will talk to you on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.